Hey everyone, I'm here with my friend Darren, and he loves to explore the scams all around the world. And as you know, at Urbanist, we love exploring all the cool stories about cities. So Darren today has a very interesting story for all of you.
Indeed.
Let's jump into it.
Hi, I'm Darren Wong, and I like to explore the different scams in every city where they try to separate a fool from their money, as the saying goes. So in a recent trip to Phuket in Thailand, I experienced a really interesting one. I'm not quite sure the name of the scam, but I call it the Casino Royale because it involves me getting roped into a heist plan as a international card cheat. It all started when I was hanging out on Bangla Street in Thailand, and this guy approached me. He introduced himself as Dan. He wanted to know where I was from, so I told him I'm from New York. So we started talking about different cities, and he was really excited about Las Vegas, and that naturally led to conversations about poker. And he tells me that he's been a card dealer at a casino, and that he's been dealing blackjack for the last 20 years of his life. And he says to me, Darren, would you believe me if I told you that I can set up the cards and deal them and you would know the exact cards that were gonna come out? And I was like, yes, I believe you. And then he invites me to become part of his plan to heist the casino that he works at, which is on a cruise ship. But before we do that, he wants to prove to me his dealing skills. And so we make plans the next day where he's going to take me to his house and show me his card mechanics, and we will create a plan for the heist. I was actually pretty excited. I know some card mechanic skills, so I was actually interested to see how good he was. So the next day, I wake up at 11, I meet him at the spot, walk over to his house, and I meet his wife. They make me tea. It's a very nice place. He lives there. I was a little worried, I think on hindsight, this was very reckless of me to go to somebody's house that I didn't know and that was clearly trying to scam me. But I was on high alert. I was ready to run away, as it were, if there was any sign of danger. I had dropped a pin, just to make sure I knew where I was on my iPhone. I was scanning the area for people jumping out of shadows in the corners. I was looking at all his photos just to see if he had any burly, relatives that could be, hiding away in the next room. But there was none of that. They were very hospitable, and it was just like a normal household. I would assume that his home would seem more seedy and malevolent, but that doesn't make any sense. We're not in a cartoon. He's just a normal person. Actually a very nice guy, I feel like I could be friends with this person. Outside of the fact that he's running a scam on me. Dan goes and sets up a makeshift blackjack table on his coffee table, just using a blanket, add some cards and some chips. And he goes and he proceeds to demonstrate to me his card dealing skills. And he takes out a piece of paper and he starts writing out a plan that I'm to memorize and practice when I eventually come back with money and we will heist the casino. And this is the actual plan that he has written out for me. And the plan goes like this. I'm to play 3 rounds of blackjack, and each round I'm supposed to place the maximum bet of $2,000 each. So on the first round, I will play 5 hands, and so I will need $10,000, $2,000 per hand. Made sure to have me promise that I would practice it and that I wouldn't mess it up. And also, he made sure that I would promise that after winning the money, I would not run off with it. And this is where I really liked the scam, because he made me feel like I was the scammer or potentially going to scam him. And I would run off with half the money. And I felt a need to reassure him that I wouldn't do that, because I'm an upstanding gentleman. That's the plan. We start talking about the details of, when we would do this, how much money we would need. But before we go on to that, I was really just curious about his card mechanics. I wanted to delve a little bit deeper into his abilities, because this day was set up for him to demonstrate to me and prove to me that he was a professional card mechanic. So I start questioning him about how he does what he does. And he starts to show me some shuffles. He asked me if I know what false shuffling is, false cuts and all of those. And I was like, yeah, I've heard of those. This is where I felt a little bit of disappointment. This whole time I was hoping to see a really skilled card mechanic, but what he was telling me was just very basic card shuffles, false cuts, false steals. When I questioned him about how he actually did it, he was a little cagey about it, so he couldn't actually demonstrate to me the level of depth of his skill that I really wanted to see. But I didn't let him on in my disappointment. I let him proceed to spin this story that he was weaving for me, and I was curious to move on to the next phase of our plan, where we start to talk about the details. And we start talking about the amount of money we would need. And based upon the number and the size of the bets, we would need about $25,000 to start. He suggests that we actually go to the VIP section, where the maximum bets is actually $5,000. And so we would win more, but that would also mean we would both need more money. Of course, I don't just carry around $12,500, at least not that day. The previous day, we already discussed this was going to be a plan that I would have to come back to. He would tell me the days where tickets were on sale for the cruise ships, and I would come and book a cruise ship. And this is where I found this scam interesting, because it relied on me coming back. I reassured him that, yeah, I have $12,500 at home. I just need to go and put it into the bank. So we decided it was best to enact this heist in January, where it was after the holidays and I would be most free with my time to come back with the money, book a ticket on his cruise ship, and come back to Thailand and do the scam. So in total, we're supposed to make $22,000 profits. Another trick that he utilized as we were talking about the plan, he would share with me, why he would do this. And he tells me what he would spend the money on. And that, he is really depending on me to do the scam because he really wants to put his kid through his medical school. Then he also shares that he also wants to open a restaurant so that he can have a business that, his kid doesn't have to worry about. And then he also tells me he wants to plan a trip to Las Vegas because he hasn't seen it before. I thought those were all, wonderful ways to spend the money, but I also thought he was sharing too much. Kind of like, all right, which plan is it? Is it the school? Is it the? And
22,000 is a lot of money.
It is a lot of money. I think at the medical school we eat that up right away. Now we get to the end, where this is the furthest I can pursue the scam, because the next part of the scam entails me actually going to get money, booking a ticket to go to Thailand, showing up at the airport with $12,000 or so. He will probably arrange for somebody to rob me between here and the airport. This is just one example of the type of scam you might run into in Patong in Thailand. Not all of them are this elaborate. This one just made for an interesting story that I wanted to share. And if you encounter any other scams anywhere in the world that are also this interesting, let us know in the comments. I'm Darren. Thank you for watching. Keep on exploring, but don't get scammed.